Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to another, come on, you know it, video obviously. Today I feel like you're still a bit confused by the new changes of the pre-patch, especially another talent tree, the Retribution Paladin one. I will give my semi-qualified opinion, because this is my main alt, but all you freaking Red Paladin main elitists can chime in the comments, so do not hesitate. I'm gonna show you as usual 2 builds. I will export them so you can import them yourself from the description down below, so you can have some bursty or sustainy damage. And yes, this is my Paladin transmog. It's a good one. So your first mistake when choosing the talents for your Paladin is you're being way too happy with your damage. You shouldn't. You should be miserable about your damage. Your damage is never enough. Your pressure on your targets is never enough. Ever. Never, ever, ever. Okay, that is enough. So for the Paladin points, we're starting with Lay on Hands. Yes, now we can use this in arenas. That is super huge and OP. But I usually go between Lay on Hands or Blinding Light or Repentance. Usually Blinding Light, because if your team needs additional CC, pick Blinding Light. If you need a lot of extra healing, pick Lay on Hands. So it is like that. Blessing of Freedom, of course, because we want to get out of roots and we want to be immune to our movement impairing effects, of course. This can work on you or party members. Hammer of Wrath, one of the best abilities we have. Works like an execute. You can use it when the target has less than 20% health or when you have Avenging Wrath. You cannot unlearn this, as you can see. Same with Aura of Swift Vengeance, which grants you Retribution Aura and Crusader Aura. We will pick Aura of the Resolute. Why? Because we need Devotion Aura. I mean, we cannot really go without this because we want our damage taken reduced by 3%. And we're playing solo curated mostly, so it's basically a 3v3. And we can help our casters with Concentration Aura, especially if you have a caster with you as a DPS. Divine Steed, lip atop your charger for 7.2 seconds. We basically mount up, increase our movement speed by 100%, and it helps us with gap closing because, hey, we are a wheelchair class. Fist of Justice, this helps us with fisting. Each holy power spent reduces the remaining cooldown on your Hammer of Justice, dude, which is our basically coffee stun. It's called like that because when you're stunned with Hammer of Justice, you have time to go make a coffee, drink it, come back, and you're still stunned. Cavalier, of course, if we pick Divine Steed, we have to pick this because we have 2 charges of us mounting up and gap closing our enemies, you know, ditching that wheelchair for a mount or basically adding NOS to our wheelchair. Here we can go with either Seal of the Templar, here we can go with both. I mean, Seal of the Templar increases your Crusader Strike, Templar's Verdict, and Hammer of Justice range if you have Crusader Aura on, but you usually play with Devotion Aura most likely, or Concentration Aura, so I usually go with Seasoned Warhorse, which increases the duration of my Divine Steed by 1 second. Greater Judgment. You will be judged. Judgment causes the target to take 20% increased damage from your next Holy Power ability, so basically you build up your Holy Power, you have your Templar's Verdict ready, cast Judgment first and then hit them with the Templar's Verdict. Then we go with Holy Aegis. Armor and critical strike chance increased by 4%, because I told you, you should never be fucking happy with your damage, so increase that crit chance. Avenging Wrath. This is our Red Bull Wings. We should never not pick this, because it increases our damage and healing down by 20%, and it allows Hammer of Wrath to be casted. This makes us Thor, basically. Then we go with Rebuke, because it is our only interrupt on the red spec. After that, I picked Judgment of Light. Judgment causes the next 25 successful attacks against the target to heal the attacker for 109 health. It's pretty okay, it's like a mini hot on you. Next I go with Blessing of Sacrifice. I don't really use it and I don't even remember to use it. Basically you help a teammate reduce their damage taken by 30%, but that prevented damage will be transferred to you by 100%. But this helps me pick Unbreakable Spirit, reduces the cooldown of your Divine Shield, Divine Protection, and Lay on Hands by 30%. Especially if you play Lay on Hands, this is huge. Or Divine Protection, because Divine Protection reduces all damage you take by 20% for 8 seconds. And you can use this while being CC'd. We obviously also pick Bop or Blessing or Protection. Basically, the target you bop is immune to physical damage. So we cannot just have one or the other. We have to have Divine Shield, which is our bobble, and Bop. Then we go with Seal of Reprisal. Your damaging holy power spending abilities deal 10% increased damage. As I said, increase your damage, guys. Do not ever be happy with it. And of course, we spec into improved Blessing or Protection because we want to reduce its cooldown. When you play against physical damage classes, you can actually get 2 bops in. One on your teammate or one on you. And you can keep that Divine Shield for when the moment is crucial. Then I go with Touch of Light. Your spells and abilities have a chance to cause your target to erupt in a blinding light, dealing 114 holy damage or healing an ally for 102 health. You're healing someone and you still get some more damage in. Never be happy with your... Okay, this is one of my favorite talents. Divine Purpose. Holy power abilities have a 15% chance to make your next holy power ability free and deal 15% increased damage and healing. Dude, I cannot tell you how good this proc is. When you have Templar's Verdict available, you can basically strike your target with Templar's Verdict, heal yourself or an ally with Word of Glory, or hey, you know, hit your target with Templar's Verdict twice. This can proc many times in a row, which makes you basically a 2-2 train. I also spec into Hallowed Ground. Consecration's damage is increased by 10% because we spec into Consecrated Blade. Art of War causes Blade of Justice to cast Consecration at the target's location. Then I go with Seal of Might. During Avenging Wrath, your mastery is increased by 8%. More
holy damage.
And then I go with Seraphim for the haste. And I usually have a macro in which I cast Avenging Wrath, Seraphim, and a usable PvP trinket. For the retribution points, first Blade of Justice. On the top, like I beam for Havoc because it's such a good ability. It's ranged and you hit your target for 5k physical damage. And you generate 2 holy power. Then Device Storm, obviously. Art of War, one of the best talents out there. You reset the cooldown of your Blade of Justice and works with Consecrated Blade by also applying Consecration, which goes well with Hallowed Ground. Then I go with Improved Judgment. Reduces the cooldown of your Judgment by 1 second. Because Judgment is such a core ability of ours and we use it all the time, it helps us to reduce its cooldown. Then we obviously go with Improved Crusader Strike because we want 2 charges of Crusader Strike, so it helps us with building that holy power way faster, especially when we don't have other abilities available like Blade of Justice or Wake of Ashes. And then we spec into Holy Blade. Basically, when we cast Blade of Justice, it generates 3 holy power, which means we can use a holy power ability like Templar's Verdict or Word of Glory. And similar to the I-Beam, to build up that Blade of Justice even more, Blade of Condemnation increases the critical chance of Blade of Justice by 5%.
Huge damage.
Empyrean Power. Crusader Strike has a 15% chance to make your next Divine Storm free and deal 25% additional damage. This helps us really well also with Vanquisher's Hammer because you can have like that free Divine Storm, then you put Vanquisher's Hammer, and if you have the holy power, obviously, you cast Templar's Verdict and another Divine Storm. And this also helps when a rogue tries to stealth without vanish, and you can basically Divine Storm to uncover him. Rogues or other stealthed characters. Then I go with Divine Protection. Reduces all damage you take by 20% for 8 seconds. This is usable during CC. It's a very good ability, and it works with Unbreakable Spirit. Sometimes I pick Shield of Vengeance when I want the damage I receive to be returned to my attacker. But I would do this only if I know I can kill a target, and you cannot use this while you're CC'd, so I pick this in very rare cases. Then I go with Blade of Wrath because Art of War now resets the cooldown 15% more often, and it increases its damage by 25% for 10 seconds. So we have a very good Blade of Justice and Art of War proc. And to top this off, you pick Consecrated Blade to basically apply Consecration on the ground when you hit the target with Blade of Justice, and Expurgation, which basically puts a dot on your target that damages them for 60% of the damage you dealt with Blade of Justice. You know, we increased our damage a lot by now, but is it enough? Yes?
No, it's not.
We also increased our judgment damage by 16% more with High Lord's Judgment, and our next Templar's Verdict damage by 5% for 6 seconds when we strike with Templar's Verdict with the Righteous Verdict talent. Then I pick Wake of Ashes because this is such a great ability. It strikes all of your enemies, reducing their movement speed by 5%, deals a lot of damage, generates 3 holy power, and it goes really well into our rotations. Basically, we can have 2 Crusader Strikes, 1 Judgment, we build 3 Holy Power, Templar's Verdict, Wake of Ashes, Templar's Verdict again. And it helps with that Righteous Verdict talent, for example. Then I pick Inner Grace. Every 12 seconds in combat, you gain 1 Holy Power. Self-explanatory, more Holy Power, more
damage.
Now, combined with our base Avenging Wrath, we also have Avenging Wrath Might. That basically increases my critical strike chance by 20% alongside my damage and healing damage increase. You can either have crit chance increase or haste. I usually go with crit. Then we pick Fires of Justice. Reduces the cooldown of Crusader Strike by 15%. Great. We have 2 stacks. And grants it a 15% chance to make your next ability consume 1 less holy power. You know, like Templar's Verdict. Now, what I'm showing you now is basically like a sustain build. We'll get to a more bursty build later. Do you guys remember this ability? Oh my god. If you're playing Wrath, you might actually remember it. Exorcism. Basically damages a target for 4k holy damage and then puts a 6k holy damage dot. Pretty great. It's ranged. Even more abilities. We're gonna need 2 keyboards and 2 Razor Nagas to play this class. Then I pick Hand of Hydrants because you reduce your enemy's movement speed by 70%, and Blade of Justice applies this with the PvP talent Law and Order. You cannot pick this if you want to, but I also pick it separately because I want to slow like those mages down or targets that can easily kite you, and as a wheelchair class that you are, you probably benefit from another slow. I also like to play with Selfless Healer because my holy power abilities reduce the cast time of my next Flash of Light by 25% and increase the healing by 10%. It stacks up to 4 times, which basically at that point it makes it an instant Flash of Light. Imagine in 1v1 situation, you're healing yourself constantly, or you could heal a friendly target or yourself with Word of Glory, which triggers the stacks, and you can also use Flash of Light. More healing, more support. Then I go with Relentless Inquisitor. Spending Holy Power grants 1% haste per finisher for 12 seconds. So you basically have a 5% haste max, which helps us a lot. Then I go with, but this is a
Fun build, okay?
I go with Divine Toll because I don't have to play Kyrian to throw these Judgment at my targets. We instantly cast Judgment like AoE, and this Judgment deals 100% increased damage compared to the normal Judgment. Now for the burst build, the difference is we go with Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust. Basically when Art of War procs, we get Seraphim for 4 seconds. Pretty great for our haste. Then we go with Virtuous Command. Judgment grants you Virtuous Command for 5 seconds. Causes your Temperance Verdict, Crusader Strike, Blade of Justice, and auto attacks to deal 10% additional holy damage. You no longer have the Exorcism and Divine Toll, but when you spec into these you also get the Final Reckoning, which was Shadowlands' great one-shot builder. You blast your targets, and all the targets blasted take 50% increased damage from your holy power abilities for 8 seconds. You basically want to drop this on your targets first, and then pop your one-shot, like Avenging Wrath, Seraphim, and then, you know, Hammer of Wrath, Crusader Strike, Templar's Verdict, Judgment, everything, just burst them down. Don't forget to start with Vanquish's Hammer though, so your Templar's Verdict also hits them with a Divine Storm. Alright, so I hope this guide has been helpful to you guys. If you want to play some fun Red Paladin specs, bless some people in PvP, and of course, after you import these builds from me,
You will not have friends again.
because you will burst everyone down and they will all hate you or envy you. If this has been helpful, give this video a like. And if you're new here, click the subscribe button and the bell for some more bursty talents. I will see you next time. Peace!